Micha Bell is, without question, the most loathed character in Red Dead Redemption 2. He isn't just a dislikable personality, he's the rotting heart of the gang's downfall. From the moment he's introduced, he radiates smug arrogance, racism, and a violent temper that doesn't even try to hide itself. He constantly antagonizes Arthur, instigates fights, and plays on Dutch's ego to gain favor. What makes Micha truly hated isn't just his awful behavior, it's the long con. As the gang begins to fall apart, it becomes clear Micha is manipulating Dutch behind the scenes, feeding him paranoia and lies. He eggs on Dutch's worst instincts, turning him into a delusional tyrant. And then comes the betrayal. Micha has been working with the Pinkertons the whole time, selling out his so-called family for his own survival and profit. Worse, he tries to present himself as justified, as if his betrayal was somehow logical. In a world full of morally gray characters, Micha stands out as a pure snake, and players universally hated him so much that the final confrontation with him was cathartic. He's not just a villain, he's the traitor who broke the gang from the inside. Number 2. Leviticus Cornwall. Why he's hated. Cornwall isn't loud or flashy. He's a symbol of greed, industry, and soulless power, crushing the last breath of freedom out of the American West. As a powerful oil and rail tycoon, Cornwall represents the force that's eating the world alive, and he'll destroy anything that gets in the way of his profits. He funds the Pinkertons, essentially giving them a blank check to hunt, torture, and kill members of the Linde gang. His influence reaches everywhere. He owns lawmen, politicians, banks, and trains, and when he's confronted by Dutch and Arthur, he talks to them like they're insects. He sees people as tools or nuisances, nothing more. What makes him so hateable is how untouchable and indifferent he is. He doesn't swing a gun or spit in your face. He crushes lives with paperwork and money. His murder by Dutch is one of Dutch's final tipping points, but few players mourned Cornwall's death. He's the embodiment of how power without compassion corrupts everything. Angelo Bronte. Why he's hated. Angelo Bronte is a refined, wealthy crime lord who operates out of Saint Denis, and he's a master of manipulation, deception, and ego. When the gang enters his orbit looking for information about Jack Marston's kidnapping, Bronte seems charming at first. He dresses well, speaks smoothly, and offers help, but it quickly becomes clear that everything he does is for leverage. He insults Dutch and Arthur to their faces, calling them savage Americans and mocking their frontier sensibilities. He treats them like uncultured brutes, all while profiting off misery, child trafficking, and organized crime. He gives them small favors while pulling their strings, playing everyone in the room like a fiddle. And yet, his greatest sin is kidnapping Jack, treating a child like a bargaining chip. He doesn't care about innocence or consequence, only power and perception. His eventual demise, fed to alligators, is brutal, but felt well-earned. Bronte is a man who hid cruelty behind civility, and it made his villainy all the more detestable. Number 4. Colm O'Driscoll. Why he's hated. Colm O'Driscoll is Dutch's longtime rival and the brutal leader of the O'Driscoll Boys, a gang of merciless bandits that leave blood and ruin wherever they go. His hatred with Dutch is deep and personal, and by extension, he becomes one of Arthur's most consistent and dangerous enemies. What makes Colm hated isn't just his violence, it's how far he's willing to go to hurt people. He has Arthur kidnapped and tortured, leaving him broken and near death. He orchestrates ambushes, murders, and treachery as casually as breathing. He doesn't want money or power as much as he wants revenge and chaos. He's gleeful in his cruelty and constantly mocks Arthur and Dutch as he chips away at them. When the time comes for his public execution, Colm laughs to the bitter end, smug and satisfied that he's left lasting scars on the people who tried to take him down. He's not a complex villain. He's a savage reminder of the world's cruelty, and players hated him for how personal his war against the gang became. Number 5. Milton and the Pinkertons. Why they're hated. Agent Milton and the Pinkerton Detective Agency are the hammer that eventually smashes the Linde gang apart. They don't play fair. They use surveillance, bribery, and brute force. Milton, in particular, is arrogant and cold, seeing himself as the law while behaving more like a hitman with a badge. He constantly harasses Arthur, threatening the people they care about, and offers immunity in exchange for betrayal. Milton's obsession with taking down the gang isn't justice, it's career ambition. He kills Hosea, one of the gang's most beloved members, in cold blood during a mission gone wrong. From that point on, Milton becomes a symbol of everything corrupt and violent about law and order. There's no justice in the Pinkertons campaign, only destruction. They represent the final nail in the coffin for a dying way of life, and Milton's smug, self-righteous attitude makes his death one of the most satisfying in the game. 6. Edgar Ross. Why he's hated. Though he plays a minor role in Red Dead Redemption 2, Edgar Ross is a name that fans of the series already hate because of what he does in the first game. He manipulates, threatens, and ultimately kills John Marston, the hero of RDR1. In RDR2, Ross appears younger and even more smug, following Dutch and the gang from the shadows. He's a career lawman, but he doesn't care about justice. He uses people like pawns, much like he later does with John, promising safety in exchange for betrayal, only to turn on them when it's convenient. His actions in both games make him a backstabbing hypocrite who hides behind the badge. Ross's legacy is one of dishonorable kills and cold betrayal, and even though his time in RDR2 is brief, his reputation carries hatred from 2 games' worth of betrayal. 7. Strauss. Leopold Strauss. Why he's hated. Leopold Strauss is the gang's moneylender, a quiet, cold man who profits from the suffering of others. He doesn't pull a trigger, but his ledger causes misery, death, and ruin. Arthur's debt collection missions early in the game are some of the most disturbing. They involve shaking down sick, poor, and desperate people, and one of them indirectly gives Arthur tuberculosis, sealing his fate. Strauss never shows remorse. To him, people are entries in a ledger, and their suffering is a statistic. Even as Arthur becomes more introspective and seeks redemption, Strauss remains unmoved. He's emotionally sterile, valuing money over lives, and in a game that's all about heart and loyalty, that cold detachment makes him deeply hated. He doesn't betray the gang like Micha, but he poisons it from within with heartless greed. Number 8. Dutch van der Linde. Late game Dutch. Why he's hated. This one hurts, but it's earned. Dutch starts as an idealistic leader with charisma, philosophy, and genuine charm. But as the story progresses, he becomes increasingly paranoid, manipulative, and violent. He abandons plans, people, and principles on a whim, always insisting, "I have a plan," while watching everything crumble. The real tragedy of Dutch is that he betrays himself. He could have saved the gang, but he listens to Micha, ignores Arthur's warnings, and slowly transforms into the tyrant he always claimed to resist. He sacrifices Hosea, leaves John behind, turns on Arthur, and lies to everyone while pretending it's all for freedom. By the end, Dutch is a shell of the man he was, a delusional egomaniac clinging to scraps of control. His betrayal is slow and painful, making his fall from grace one of the most hated and tragic arcs in gaming.